Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to follow on from a video I've done regarding the Dyna P1000 Evo 2 and I said that I was going to change the scope. This scope here is a Nikko Stirling and I'm not a great fan of it. There's no parallax on it and it's not really fit for purpose from my point of view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit this Dyna scope 8x32 by 44. As I said before, I prefer to have a much longer depth of field view for shooting as I shoot at distance. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through fitting this. What I've also done is I bought a one-piece a tube mount, one-piece scope mount, because that one-piece mount should be able to go on to the rail without obstructing the breech. So let's see how we get on with this. Let me just move this down a bit. And there we go. Just take this off. I mean, Nikko Stirling mounts, they do some good mounts, and I have noticed that some of them are quite expensive. And so I've come to the conclusion that if you really want a decent Nikko Stirling, you've got to go to the higher end units. I've seen some of them upwards of 200 quid. But as I say, with that one I only paid about £48 for, so that was obviously the more affordable choice for me. I'll probably just stick this on eBay and sell it. Okay, so let's get the It's peeing down with rain today, so I was hoping to go outside and zero this new scope when fitted, but I'll probably do that tomorrow or another day when it's not raining. It's proving a bit hard to go on. Oh, I'll tell you for why. There's a stop. The stop. So if when you have the rail where it has the hole for the recoil to stop obviously the scope moving, there's a pin, so I'll have to remove the pin out of this. I don't think I've got any tools in here to do it. Bear with me a sec, I'll just get some tools. Okay, so I'm back. And what you've got, as you can see there's a little pin, so I just need to remove that. It's on a circlip, so just a case of pulling it out, a pair of pliers. There you go. Now it should go on. There you go. That sits there nicely. Obviously make sure it's not in the way of the breech. And the mount that I'm using does have a couple of Picatinis at the top. So if you wanted to attach a torch or a laser or some other form of accessory, at least you've got the option to do that, which is handy, so you're not kind of losing that ability to attach an accessory. So, okay, I think that's what we now have to do is take off tops. I'll also put on I think I've got a spare anti-cant level which I'll stick on, which I've got there, so I'll stick that on as well. Got to remember, when it comes to fitting scopes, it's one thing if you're fitting the scope that has the mounts already attached, but when you're having to do the actual ring, scope ring part of it, it's a little bit tedious. You know, you've got 8 bolts in total that you've got to undo and tighten up in a sequence and all the rest of it. Okay, so mounts on. Take the lens covers off. Okay, so about there. And what I'm going to do is just check the level. Obviously there'll be room for adjustment, but I just want to check how it is this minute. Yeah, that looks okay. So now we'll just get the scope rings back on. Now I've kind of done it so that it's kind of in an even distance between the adjustments of the scope and each scope ring. So, and when you're doing the scope back up, you also want to make sure you don't over tighten, because you'll damage elements of the scope. You can damage the parallax element, you can damage the crosshairs adjustment if you squeeze on the tube. So the idea is to sort of try and do it up evenly. So what I generally do is I put the grub screws back on, and just do them loose. See what I mean about time? It's finicky. Takes a little bit of time to do this, but you want to get it right. Obviously the scope's moving all over the place while I'm doing it. So, okay, what I then generally do is go back to the rear of the rifle, check how that is, then I'll get the spirit level, fit that, there goes the screw. For me, I always do it so the levels to my right. I just prefer it that way. I suppose being right-handed is probably the reason. Not that it makes much of a difference, but psychological. Okay, I'm not going to tighten that up fully just yet. I'm going to mainly rely on line of sight at the moment, and obviously looking at the level from my point of view. So let's just get that. Got a level. I also like to ensure that the gap between the scope mount that's over the scope ring rather, that's over the scope, and the ring that's on the mount is even both sides. Don't like having a big gap at one end and a small gap at the other. So I'll normally start from one corner and the other corner. When I feel it slightly biting, I'll then check scope again to see how level it looks. Yeah, so I've just slightly adjusted it. Now looking at that, from the rear of the rifle, from the cheek piece obviously to the eye relief part of the scope, that looks pretty much level. So I'm going to start tightening down on that basis. So as I said, corner to corner. Don't just do one side fully and then the other side. I can feel that slightly biting now nicely. There'll be minimal movement anyway, it's PCP, so it's not as if you're going to be expecting it to go out of alignment like a Springer does. Okay, that's that one. And let's do this one. Okay, bring this side up a bit. That's about right. I mean, some of you might think, well, I've got an anti-cant level there, why not put that on and tighten it up and then go with that? But there isn't any point, because I need to make sure, from looking at it from a sort of eye relief, that the, or from my own eye relief, that it's square, and then I'll align the level with the scope ring. I can see that on leveling it, it is square. So obviously, me adjusting it, I know that I've adjusted it okay, all the initial adjustments. So that's, again, I'm particular of the distance between each side, so I just compensate so that it's even. Okay, so that all looks like it's all tight and levelled up. As you can see, it looks much better. Aesthetically, it looks much better than the other scope that was on there. And normally, most of my scopes are 50 or 56. I've even got a 60 sort of mil optical end, but this one's 44. Doesn't really matter as long as the glass is nice and clear. Obviously, the bigger the diameter, the more light's going to go into it. But I did sort of look at it, sort of pre-check it, and there's enough light going into it to give you a clear view of your range or target. So that's all on. What I'll do next, obviously I've got to zero it and see what it's like, see what I get. You probably, on some rifles, I do notice that when you put a scope on, again because I shoot at distance, there's that minute of angle thing going on. So these mounts are non-adjustable, so hopefully I won't have any issues with that. If I do, then I have got a set of West Hunter, I keep calling them West mounts, a set of West Hunter scope mounts, adjustables that can go on there and can compensate for anything that I need to as it goes down range at distance. Okay, so I'm going to go and zero this up. Thanks for watching. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Thank you. Bye.